Good afternoon, everyone. This is Matt. Welcome to Marble 73, my Friday Fandemonium live stream. A little drive time afternoon. My latest audio check is working, so we can get right into it. Now, the first bit of news: Jacob Ironside is not with us today. He is having difficulty with an army of mechanized raccoon Daleks attacking the state of Texas, and he needs to repel them to save the state of Texas. So, so what's on our agenda for today? I got an unboxing. We'll do a little golden book read. Couple articles to discuss, and I'll probably go over. I like to go over the filmographies with Jacob because we have a little back and forth, but I don't know. We'll find some filler whether we do it or not. Plus any topics you guys come up with, and of course anyone out there who wants to drop in of my regulars or the people who want to know, let me share the stream. Going on to the Twitters. I would talk some wrestling. Oh, we'll have a death. Alpha, one of the Wild Samoans, has passed away. Sad news. And okay, so let's see, 5:03. So we'll talk some wrestling. We're going to talk. Got some articles prepped. Got the unboxing of the Golden Book. Might do a little on the politics. Let's check something. It's almost 5. Okay. No. Okay, so let's do the unboxing. Normally I have to cut the dang thing open, but the post office helpfully wrecked it for us already. Now I'm all askew on the comics. I have to sit down because of that missed order from things from Ron's comic closet, which was comic issues I missed. I'm like, I can't really read a bunch of series I'm interested in due to that fact, right? Okay. Now let's see. So first up is Void Rivals, number 11, from the Kirkman Transformers universe, basically. So Void Rivals being the main book. I'm about 4 issues behind on reading this series. It's been good so far for the first 7 or 8. Great artwork, perfectly. It looks like to me the greatest era of comics is the 1980s, and this looks and reads like a 1980s comic book. Now this is a $4 book. Images $4 books are a little wanting in physical quality. Of course, and then we have Transformers number 10. Again, same quality as, I think that's Carly and RC. Excellent artwork, lovely coloration. Yeah. Now we get into trying to remember what this is about. Let me look it up. Comic. It's from Boom Studios. Okay. So this is from Boom Studios, Hello Darkness. It's a horror anthology comic series. Garth Ennis. I mean, a whole bunch of people. Garth Ennis is the most famous name, obviously. You know, some decent quality artwork, of course. I mean, since it's an anthology, it's going to depend on the story, right? You know. And this is Titan Comics, Elric the Necromancer #1. Titan. This is a $4 book, and it's significantly higher quality than the $4 image book. Like even the pages are even coded and everything. All right, back here. And then this is by where's the credits page? So we have a comic book with no credits page. Is this like the thing now? Oh, it's in the back. So adapted. So it's adapted from probably a story adapted by Julian Blundell and Jean-Luc Cano, based on Michael Moore's novels, of course. Story and dialogue by Julian Blundell. Art and colors, map and cover by Valentin Scher. Translated by Mark Bourbon-Cook and lettered by Jessica Bourbon. Of the Necromancer. And of course, Conan the Barbarian #13. This looks like their version of Red Sonja might be in this one. And remember, Red Sonja in Conan, spelt differently, is a pirate. Okay? That Michael Moore, Robert E. Howard Red Sonja is a pirate. Okay? The version of Red Sonja created by Roy Thomas, who people tend to be more familiar with, is like a female Conan, basically. And of course, Savage Sword of Conan. I'm missing the second issue, unfortunately. Look at the high quality black and white artwork, man. Freaking awesome. Again, that missing. I will square away this weekend. I have to go over all my comics and see what I'm missing because of that and where I stand on certain issues and get my orders ready for the next couple months and things like that, you know. So we'll see how that goes. So let's put those back away for now. And I'll bag and board them later. Now, so that's our comic order. Now let's see. So I'll show you what I'm missing, like what happened. You know, let's share a tab. Present, share screen. So you remember I had a comic order that I ordered on May 7th, and they didn't show up. I gave it a month. Then I had to give it another couple of weeks because of you know, to see if the post office found it. I contacted Ron from Ron's Comic Closet, and he's like, "Oh, he put in a ticket. They wound up refunding me the money, which is great, right?" But these issues here are missing issues in sequence that I need to pick up so I could read stuff in order, you know. So I gotta grab all of this stuff, you know, and then so let's start going over stuff. So first up, we're going to talk about Deadpool and Wolverine. Deadpool and Wolverine is officially the highest grossing R-rated movie of all time. Not surprising. Ryan Reynolds put it together as well as he did. He did. I mean, there are a lot of people who don't like this movie, even though I don't know why. I think that they've been burnt out on Marvel, like with the woke derangement syndrome and all that, and all that Marvel stuff is woke for sure. But Ryan Reynolds is committed to Deadpool as a character, and there was a little bit of it, with female villains not being as hurt as badly as male villains, unless they were female Deadpools and whatever. But it's still really, I would say this movie is about 80% as good as Deadpool 1 and better than Deadpool 2. I would put it that way. Right? It's an enjoyable watch. I'll probably watch it again in a few months, and then that it goes, especially once I can get it on Blu-ray. But there are people who are crapping on it. But I mean, it's obviously hit its audience because not only the highest R-rated film of all time, but let's take a look at the numbers. All right. So, and we'll go to our weekly chart, of course. On the weekly chart, Deadpool Wolverine is number one with over 500 million U.S. gross. But if we look at the film itself, it's over $1 billion because it's gotten over 500 million at home, domestic, and over 500 million international. Now, this movie, had it been released 7 years ago, probably would be closing on $1 billion domestically and $1 billion nationally. Well, maybe still only 500-600 million internationally. But here, the point I'm getting is the U.S. film market has basically collapsed. And when I say collapsed, I don't mean like failed out of existence or whatever. I mean, a combination of COVID, Bidenomics, and frustration with really bad movies, audiences have checked out of the concept of going to movies as a regular thing. Like it used to be, everyone maybe once a month you go to the movies, or maybe at the end of the school week when you're younger, you and friends get to school Friday afternoon, hit up an early evening show and have dinner with your friends and all. At the mall or whatever. I mean, or maybe your date night was at a movie and a dinner, for various ages, and people don't do that anymore. Between much more enhanced capability, like if given the choices, even for relatively inexpensively, you can put together a better home theater system than not that you'll be as good as the movie theater, but then you won't have to deal with high prices of food. You won't do all the jerks in the theater and so forth. And so that's another thing that makes it less likely to go to the movies. You can gather at one of your friends' houses and watch on an 82-inch TV or something, So that, in my opinion, is one that plus COVID, the COVID lockdowns, plus Bidenomics have made the idea of going to the movies in the U.S. no longer like a regular thing. So I don't think it'll be a long time, if ever, that we will see like a movie like Deadpool and Wolverine in the U.S. It's 560 million. That should probably be closer to $1 billion already. It should be maybe 700-800 million. But people just don't go to the films anymore, And the same thing with the other really good movie that's out there from Inside Out 2. Where is it? Did they pull it out of theaters already? That's Twisted Despicable Me, boy. We'll go back to the top 10. Un momento, por favor. Yeah, so Inside Out 2, again, 638 million domestic, 958 international, and usually domestic again would have been far higher in this film 10 years ago. So. Anyway, back to so what's our top 10? It ends with Us, which is kind of like I think it's a dramedy thriller type of thing. Twisters, which I know people like. I heard it's a decent little action film. I never liked the original, so I'm not about to watch it. Despicable Me 4. This is a Pixar thing, I think. Or no, it's not. This isn't Pixar. This is a spin-off of the Minions. So people. The total joke of the film Borderlands, M. Night Shyamalan and Ding Dong's new bad movie Trap, Howled in the Purple Crayon, which I think is a limited budget release type of thing, uh, which stars Zachary Levi from Shazam, Cuckoo, Coraline, and Long Lady are top 10. Now, this Fabulous Four film here, this is a film my aunt wants me to get for her. So I'll see that. So that's our box office theater. Yeah, and probably our two highest grossing movies of the year, Inside Out 2 and Deadpool and Wolverine, are basically out already. Okay, so let's close that out. Let's go to our next article. So more censorship confirmed for Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster as Capcom removes anti-communist dialogue scene from Cliff Hudson boss fight. So now it's being censored. So a game that had an anti-communist bit of plot of subplot or one of the subplots now is being purged of anti-communism. Now the question is, obviously they're doing this because they're they support this ideology and don't want to denigrate anyway. But also, they probably want the game to sell in China, and there was no way it would sell in China if with that line in there. Well, okay, so we had Fatu from the Wild Samoans had passed away, and now we have another death to report. This is Great White Singer, which is one of the 80s, big in the 80s, early 90s. Okay, hard rock to metal band type of thing. Sounds kind of like a Motley Crue. So Jack Russell died at 63. Now let's go to another interesting bit. So Paramount, since they've been purchased by Skydance is cutting costs and consolidating things and stopping bad production of stuff like the Star Trek shows. Another thing they did is they closed the Paramount TV studio. So let's see what it says here. Paramount Global declared on Tuesday it will be closing its TV studio, which results in the loss of thousands of jobs amid the industry's uncertain future. The company has a Paramount Television Studios will be closing its doors later this week. In a message to the staff on Tuesday morning, President Nicole Clemens stated the overall transformation industry has significant impact on the studio. As part of the restructuring, Paramount co-CEO George Chicks will be leaving the company. Current project development at Paramount TV Studios will be transferred under the CBS Studios label. In a separate message, Cheeks mentioned that the shutdown decision was not based on the performance of the studio. Instead, it resulted in significant changes in television industry markets. So what they're doing here is they're consolidating CBS TV Studios with Paramount TV Studios, and that was another legacy of the whole CBS and Paramount being separate entities for 20 years or whatever. Good. This is a good decision. Now, a little bit of potentially on. I would say it's troublesome because Superman star Isabella Merced says DC film is very loyal to the comic books with a James Gunn twist. I don't have great hopes for this film. I don't see anything in here that's worth talking about. So this is who's playing Hawk Girl, of course. Isabella Merced. Certainly attractive enough to be Hawk Girl. My concern in this film is it's an ensemble movie rather than a Superman movie. That's one of my concerns with this film. Plus, obviously, the sort of potential wokenisms that might make it in. And our last, so that's 5:20. Wow, we went through. Well, I guess without Jacob, we're going to go through stuff fast. So probably aim for a 45-minute to an hour show today. Let's do some random article hunting. Bounty in the comics. Canceled TV shows. Oh, okay. So the final season of SEAL Team has premiered this week. That's one of the better military action adventure shows that we've had in the past 7 seasons. So I would strongly recommend you guys catch up on it. Some great drama, some great action, some great espionage. The show is certainly good, and the military action is depicted very well. Based on all of what we know, um, that's the team has actual Navy SEALs and spec ops guys as consultants and training the actors, so they move correctly and all that sort of thing. You know. Oh yeah, I'm tired. Oh wow, why am I so tired? Bounty in the comics. We just did Bounty in the comics. Oh, where haven't I been this last couple of days? Winter's coming. Oh look. Oh, are we so blessed? Well, blessed are those of us who, ugh. First episode of Lord of Rings of Prime will drop it once. So that's like getting with 3 nuclear bombs instead of 1. I can't. Uh, World of Real. Oh, I'm tired. I'm so tired. Um. Okay, so let's hit a little sports news up. A little Wrestle Zone. Okay, the biggest news. Hey, Kiss It, how you doing? Welcome to the show. So the biggest wrestling news that dropped in a day or two, aside from the deaths, is AEW is All In Wembley, which is happening. So All In is like a quarterly pay per view for AEW, right? And it moves around. And last year they did All In Wembley, and it was the highest wrestling crowd for an international wrestling event ever, right? And we're doing All In Wembley again in 2 weeks, basically a week and a half, and then so AE All In. So there's like an All In the summer, like their version of SummerSlam, if you want to call it that. And next year, All In the summer is going to be in July instead of August. It's going to be in Texas. So the question is, why didn't they go back to Wembley? And the reason is, I suspect, is because summer. I think Triple H is going to have a Wembley event. I think SummerSlam is at Wembley next year, and that will basically be like 100,000 people plus. And I don't think they want. I don't think AEW wants to show up, a month later or 3 weeks later and only get like 90, 80, 90,000 people. It'll be they don't want to look like it would be bad press for them. I thought Bobby Roode suffered a career-ending injury, bro. Um, that's why we haven't seen him for a while, because he's still under contract to WWE, and he wasn't planning on leaving. He was happy there, but then he got. Let's double check that, my friend. Uh yeah, producer role. Okay, so following his neck surgery, Rude made it. Yeah, I knew he suffered the neck surgery because he had that severe neck injury. Rude made a shift from being a professional wrestler, taking on the role of a match producer. So he's basically retired. And yeah, sometimes these guys get injuries that either they can't wrestle anymore or they have to take a really long time off. Like Daniel Bryan's neck injury, he had to take a couple of years off to fully be able to wrestle again. And even WWE didn't want him wrestling. That's why he's in AEW. Who else has an injury like that? Someone's name just went in my head. Edge, Adam Copeland. Yeah, he had an injury like that too, and he had to take two long breaks off. So, And Bobby Roode, he's a really good wrestler. You know, there was an influx of talent in like that around 2015. You had AJ Styles, Bobby Roode, Shinsuke Nakamura, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Samoa Joe, like a whole bunch, like the best of the indies, all finally came to WWE, and Vince just wasted them totally. Everything he wanted to do with Roman Reigns, he should have he had Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe has multiple times in terms of making money for the company he carried Ring of Honor twice. He carried TNA multiple times. He just elevated the AEW championship with a great heel run that Swerve is now taking off with a face run, you know. And for Vince to not drop that title on Samoa Joe and let him do a great heel run for a year and a half, 2 years was lost money, true lost money, you know. And you know, and again, AJ Styles, the same thing with AJ. With you know, they had such a level of talent with these guys coming in. Plus, they still had Taker. They still had Cena part time. You know, obviously, The Rock is a part timer. They had a couple of their own guys coming up strong too, and Randy Orton still around and all that. So they had that mix, and Vince just ruined it. I mean, there's just going to be a whole series of videos like what did Vince screw up in wrestling, you know? So, oh, here, I forgot to share the tab for Bobby Roode. So if you go to Wikipedia, they'll tell you that Bobby was basically retired. You know? Let's go back to the wrestling news. So here, another interesting article. Randy Orton has revealed who he wants to induct into the WWE Hall of Fame. And he said John Cena, which makes sense. They kind of they have similar careers, you know. So yeah, I heard people like that Twisted Metal show. I never got into the game, so I didn't find the movie interesting. Let's hit one other bit of wrestling news up. Sportskeeda. Now, Sportskeeda tends to be WWE only unless it's a really big headline from AEW. Here's an article about Alpha passing away. Seeking Alpha with the Wild Samoans. And so Sika is Roman Reigns' dad. Alpha is the brother, obviously. 21 tag champions around the world. Well, we're all heading down that road to death, you know. Yeah, I'm glad you found my channel too. Kiss it. I do a little Friday afternoon stream hour. Try to aim for an hour to an hour and a half, like a little drive time type of thing, you know. And I do videos. I have on some comics and movies and things I like. I try not to do all negative comment like I hate this and do a video on it. I try to do a mix between positive and negative content, you know. Normally, I have a co-host, Jacob Ironside, on Fridays, but his internet has been destroyed by an army of machine gun wielding Dalek raccoons. So he has to repel them, you know, with anime powers to save Texas from the invasion. You know. K. Okay, so I think we got some wrestling news. Wrestling news. We'll do a little science. I haven't done a science article in a while. Let's go to space.com. So here's the interesting thing. We are hitting a point with space travel, at least with SpaceX, right? Where it's becoming a regular thing to be able to launch this stuff up easily. And now SpaceX is getting the recoverability of the vehicles, which is the next generation. When we can get these just launch and land with the vehicles, we begin to approach science fiction levels of space access. Thanks, man. Thank you, kids. Yeah, yeah. So my headset, I really got to make an effort to replace the battery in this thing. It's a great headset, but it's like it's 11 years old, and the battery, just doesn't last long. Um, Anywho, someday, hopefully, some other people besides SpaceX will have some space travel going. You know, Boeing's failed completely in their project. Uh, NASA's like the U.S. government in house has failed to develop it any. Thank you for joining us, Kiss It. Um, and the other successful program is the Pentagon's launch program, which just launches satellites. So, yeah. And we'll do one more science article, then we'll do our little golden book read. Science. Let's check out the space weather first. Geomagnetic storm watch. Okay, usual type of thing. Nothing crazy. Let's go to science news. Okay, here's something interesting. Why this is called paleontology and not geology, media, Aug Snowball? Yeah, I'll check them out. Okay. Um, this shouldn't be paleontology. This should be chemistry, physics, astronomy. Um, anyway, so Earth's most famous killer asteroid came from the outer reaches of the solar system. Researchers report in the August 16th issue of Science. So this thing crashed in Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula. You can almost see the crater if you see a satellite of it. And around 65 to 66 million years ago, it triggered a mass extinction event. It killed up more than 60% of the Earth's species, including the dinosaurs, basically. Right. And we know it did because we found a layer of the impact detritus, including iridium, a variety of iridium that could only have come from a mass meteor impact. Thanks, kids. See you again, hopefully next week. So geochemist Mario Fisher, why isn't this a geochemistry article? So geochemist Mario Fisher Gold of the University of Cologne in Germany and colleagues measured 5 isotopes or forms of ruthenium in the KPG rock layers, as well as 5 impact craters that occurred between 36 million and 430 million years ago in Earth-based platinum ores. Ruthenium, like iridium, is a platinum group element, rare in the Earth's crust, but abundant in asteroids and space rocks. However, the relative abundance of ruthenium isotopes among space objects depending on where they originate. The ruthenium signatures in the KPG rocks were indistinguishable from one another, tied to the same event, the team found. And that event was definitely extraterrestrial, not from an asteroid due to intense volcanic eruptions that also been implicated in national science. No. Let's do maybe 5 So let's do one more. I want to talk about science articles. Let's go back to New Scientist. So this is the mpox, as they're calling it now. This is the next disease they're going to attempt to scare us and take away our freedoms with in the U.S. So I'm going beyond that. I want one actual discussable science article. Let's go to The Scientist. Okay. Eureka alert. The debrief. Okay, here we go. This is interesting. Hey, Roman, welcome. Roman, if you want to drop in, let me know. Jacob isn't here today. So this is interesting. The WOW signal is a radio signal that had a particular format, dubbed the WOW signal. You can look it up. And it came in 1977, and the astronomer Jerry Ehrman was impressed. He wrote "wow" in the signal printout's margins, and the signal was thought to be not natural or not very likely to be natural. I mean, it had to be, meaning it wasn't just a pulsar or something like that. Okay, now the PHL's lead researcher, Professor Abel Mendez, and his colleagues say that the vast amount of data they collected with the Arecibo's iconic 305-meter telescope before collapse in 2020. Okay, cool. Yeah. As well, additional data collected by the facility's 12-meter telescope since 2023 have led to potential astronomical solutions to the enduring mystery. The WOW signal may have been caused by a unique astrophysical event, the sudden brightening of a cold hydrogen cloud through stimulated emission from a transient strong radiation source, such as a magnetar flare or soft gamma repeater. Mendez told the brief, these rare events might cause hydrogen clouds to momentarily shine much brighter, potentially explain the fleeting nature of this WOW signal. Yep. So, I mean, if this is a theory, a hypothesis, not proven, but such a thing could produce the WOW signal is what they're saying based on the gathered data. Essentially, they're looking for similar signals similar to the WOW signal, and so this article is pretty interesting about that. Okay, that's our sciencey stuff. And Roman, for your goddaughter or granddaughters, we will now do our little golden book read. So I got. Normally this would have been Jacob's week to pick, but I'm here. I'm gonna pick. Not Star Wars. No. I'm gonna pick Tim Burton's The Night Before Christmas. Now, this is one that's actually multiple little golden books based on this movie. As usual with little golden books, you got to you can kind of hear the crack sometimes. You have to get the crease in here to be able to read them. It's not. So I got to hold and twist. There you go. Hey, for Keon, who's your main account? So this is adapted by Lauren Klaus, illustrated by Jeanette Arroyo. I have not seen one, Roman. Okay, Mark, welcome to the show. Hey, Ego, how you doing, buddy? I'm about to do my little golden book read of Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas, and I will pull this down this weekend and make a little 5 or 10 minute video. It's a read and review. Gonna adjust the camera slightly, guys. A little better. Okay. So I don't have to hold the book over here so you can see it. Okay. Now it's hard to read. There's a lot of text, so I'm going to show the picture and then read it. So let's start. A crowd of creatures stood waiting in the center of Halloween Town when Jack Skellington, the Pumpkin King, arrived. Arrived, they cheered, celebrating another successful spooky holiday. Great Halloween, everybody, the mayor said as the group quieted down. I believe it was our most frightful yet, Jack added. Thank you, everyone. But Jack soon left the party and joined his ghost dog Zero in a quiet graveyard. After so many Halloweens, he was growing bored with the same old things. Sally, a rag doll created by Dr. Finkelstein, watched Jack wander through the graves. She understood how he felt. She also wanted more in life, but Dr. Finkelstein refused to set her free. Jack walked all night with Zero. Going deep in the woods, he came to a clearing surrounded by 7 trees, each with a different door painted on it. What is this? Jack wondered aloud. He was most curious about the door with a pine tree symbol. He opened the door and was swept up by a strong gust of wind. The wind pulled Jack down into darkness. Jack landed on a snowy hill above a town filled with colorful lights and joyful sounds. He was thrilled. There were so many new things for him to see, from snow falling to people singing songs to a large man shouting, "Ho, ho, ho!" Jack thought he heard the man being called Sandy Claus. Jack learned he was in a place called Christmas Town. Jack returned to Halloween Town and told everyone about his adventure. While people were excited to hear about the unusual Sandy Claus, they didn't understand the strange, unscary holiday Jack described. After weeks of learning all he could about Christmas, Jack made announcements. "This year, Christmas will be ours," he shouted. Everyone cheered except Sally. She had picked the weed in Jack's yard, which had grown into a Christmas tree and then caught fire. Considering it a bad omen, Sally expected Jack's plan to end horribly. But because she loved him, she vowed to do her best to help him succeed. Preparations for Christmas were underway in Halloween Town, and everyone was pitching in. Dr. Finkelstein made skeleton reindeer, and ghosts and ghouls decorated the square. And despite her reservations, Sally sued Jack its own Sandy Claus suit. Jack called on Lock, Shock, and Barrel for a top-secret job. They ran to Christmas Town and kidnapped Sandy Claus. Jack needed Sandy Claus out of the way so he could deliver presents this year. Jack told the trio to make Sandy Claus comfortable, but instead they took him to their boss, Oogie Boogie, a villain who loved to cause chaos. Soon it was Christmas Eve, and Jack was ready to spread joy. "We're off!" he shouted to an excited crowd, with Zero leading his coffin sleigh as Jack shot into the sky. But the scary toys Jack delivered were not all what the children expected. Instead of joy, Jack's presence spread fear throughout the world. As the residents of Halloween Town watched, Jack threw a witch's cauldron. Sally worried that something would go wrong. She knew what she had to do. "Where'd they take that Sandy Claus?" she shouted, and left to find him. While Jack flew home, spotlights showing him and explosions went off all around. "They're thanking us for doing such a good job," Jack told Zero, but he quickly learned they were trying to blast him out of the sky. It's a weeping angel. Jack's sleigh was damaged and it fell. I can't help it as a weeping angel. Jack's sleigh was damaged and it fell to the ground, landing in a graveyard. At first, Jack was disappointed. Everything had gone wrong, despite his good intention. Yeah, Jack encountered a weeping angel in the middle of his mission. But then he realized that although he had wanted to do something wonderful, he also been trying to do something he's not. The realization cheered him. He was ready to be the Pumpkin King once more. He vowed to make next year's Halloween the bestest ever, but this night wasn't done. "Come on, Zero," Jack said, heading back to Halloween Town. "Christmas isn't over yet." Jack escaped the weeping angel. Back in Halloween Town, Jack raced to Oogie Boogie's lair and was shocked to find not only Sandy Claus, but also Sally. They were both tied up and in danger. Jack was touched as Sally had tried so hard to help him. Jack freed the pair, but then he was trapped by Oogie Boogie. Apparently, Jack then encountered, the Moss Monster. "How dare you treat my friend so shamefully," Jack shouted. He was able to pull a loose thread on Oogie Boogie's burlap sack body until it fell apart, and all the bugs that made up Oogie Boogie scattered everywhere. So Oogie Boogie's a member of the Burame clan from Naruto. Jack apologized to Santa Claus and what he had done. I hope there's still time, he said. To fix Christmas? Santa Claus asked. Of course there is. I'm Santa Claus. And with a little magic, Santa floated away to save the holiday. While everyone celebrated Jack's return, Santa Claus flew overhead and brought snow to Halloween Town for the first time. Later, Jack found Sally in the graveyard and took her hand. He was happy that things were back to the way they meant to be. So, I'm going to call this a 5 out of 5, 4.5 out of 5, very high rated. It's a very good children version of the movie. The movie's not that scary. Like, if I were 6 or 7, I would have enjoyed it, but my grandma got me into all sorts of scary things. This for it might be more of a 10-year older type of movie. But if you want your kids to get the story, this is a pretty good version of it. So 4.5 out of 5. So, any questions from the gallery? I think we will do a little more article hunting, and then it's 5:45. For a standalone show with no co-host, so to speak, 45 minutes is kind of what I'm looking for. So let's maybe find 2 more articles, something like that. Movie Web, Nerdarchy, Rumor, and stuff in Japan. Okay. Oh, I almost forgot about this. So, maybe 15 years ago, Criterion did a full cleaning of the Godzilla, the original Gojira, and the Godzilla King of the Monsters, the American adaptation of the original Godzilla film. They cleaned the film and scanned it in 1080p. Well, now they're doing a 4K scan of that. The question is was the film high res enough for 4K to not pick up artifacts, so to speak? So what do we got here? It's a 4K UHD and Blu-ray combo. I'll definitely be getting this. 4K digital restoration on compressor. So they are going to do some work on it to make it be okay in 4K. One 4K UK of the film, one Blu-ray of the film and special features. High color digital restoration of Godzilla King of the Monsters. The Terry Morrison 1960 working in the original. So we're going to get an improved version of the American adaptation too. Okay, so Roman, the issue when you're doing a 4K scan-in was the original film done on a film of enough quality, and was the film preserved so that when you scan it at 4K, you get a better picture as opposed to seeing like the artifacts in this, like it magnifies like the spaces between the pixels or whatever, So what you sometimes have to do with an older film is after you scan it in 4K, you have to run some filters on it to sort of fill in some gaps that might appear because of how high res it is. Like Roman, on my Plex, on Netflix, I don't share out the 4K library because of the bandwidth, but I actually have a bunch of 4Ks I've scanned in that I bought, what would you, yeah. Let's go to, so this is all my 4K stuff. Stuff I bought, for the most part, I bought these and then ripped them in. Like here, all the new Godzilla films, I have them in 4K. The Fog, John Carpenter's masterpiece, in 4K. I have the Lord of the Rings films in 4K. All the Mad Max movies in 4K. The original Phantasm. And for the most part, like if it's a bad 4K, I won't like. I'll watch it first, and if it sucks, I won't buy it. But it's kind. You're gonna have to like review. Like you want to get a 4K of an older movie, Roman. You want to basically read the reviews and see if they did any work on it to enhance it slightly. Uh, you know. Anyway, back over here. Now, my hope is that they're going to do Criterion, which eventually did HD versions of all the original Godzilla films, will eventually do the same thing with all the other Godzilla films and make 4K versions of it. We'll have to see. 551. So I think we'll one or two more articles if we can find them, and then we'll call it even at 6. And then I was gonna do. This is usually a follow up to Roman of the Empire show. Sometimes I'll mention a filmmaker on his show, and then Jacob and I will go over their filmography. But Jacob's not here today, so next week I was going to do Clint Eastwood today. We'll talking more about his directorial stuff than his acting. But if Jacob's here next week, we'll do it next week. And I'm not finding anything here. The obvious. We did Screen Rant. The beat. Let's check the beat out. Boy, disgusting. Yeah, boy. Oh, okay. Finally, boys can stop posting top 5s. I've always thought that Alien Romulus would be kind of like Aliens to me, like an okay movie. You know, I've heard some good stuff and bad stuff, like you have, Roman. So what we'll just have to see what. Oh, did you hear, Roman? Jack Russell died. Oh, yeah, this. So we all know the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is a joke. They should just call themselves the Music Hall of Fame and be done, right? So will Taylor Swift? The article is, will Taylor Swift get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame before Iron Maiden? And unfortunately, that is probably true. Here's the Rock and Roll metal snubs. The 10 worst metal omissions. Iron Maiden, of course. Dio. Yeah. Now I remember Great White when I was a kid. It was an okay like hard rock, light metal type band. I didn't buy any of their albums, but I would listen to them on the radio. I thought they were okay. Motley Crue not in there. Motorhead's not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but Dolly Parton is, right? Slayer's not in, but Dolly Parton is in. Megadeth's not in, but Dolly Parton's in the Hall of Fame. So is LL Cool J and other rappers. Again, Megadeth, Pantera, Soundgarden, the Scorpions, Anthrax. None of them are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. None of these 10 bands, but they're putting like rappers and country artists in. So again, I have a video from like a year ago when the whole Dolly Parton thing happened, and Dolly was initially refusing. When I kept respect for her before she finally gave into it. But the Rock Hall of Fame is a joke. It's a complete and utter joke. Uh, Variety. It's almost 6, so we're gonna. I mean, at least there's a loose connection with country to rock. Country rock was like country and blues combined in some ways. And I don't object to having like I don't if it's gonna be the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You know, if someone who's not a rock artist is gonna go in, they should also have crossover into the rock area. Like, for example, who's a good example? Oh, Ice T. Ice T is known as a rapper to most people, but he's been in a metal band called Body Count for 30 years. And Body Count had some good music. So I could see Ice T going in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because he's been a metal artist and a rap artist. Or having a single, like having a special thing instead of going in for your career, going in for a performance, like when Anthrax and Public Enemy did the crossover. Or when Aerosmith and Run DMC did. They're not going for their career, but they're going to honor the crossover. But to just put an artist in for like just, and the reason they're doing it is because the people on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame just want to make money. They don't really care about the integrity of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I think we're about hit the end of the road. One more article. No, no, no. Any questions from the audience? Cool. And the thing is, there are Hall of Fames for this. Like, there's a country music Hall of Fame. I'm pretty sure there's a rap, like a hip hop Hall of Fame and all that. You know, uh, so, but this Horizon, is that a movie? Oh, the Western, the Western. Not yet. I'm a little ticked off at Kevin Costner because him destroying Yellowstone. Plus, the fact is, I mean, Kevin Costner himself is not someone who draws me to a movie. But I probably will watch it when it comes out. And I'll be on Netflix, like we all know. Um, when it becomes more readily available, type of thing. And it's for wrestling fans. Here's something interesting. So the international theme song for W's Bash in Berlin, which is happening in 2 weeks, is the crossover hit from Electric Callboy, who's a kind of a metal band, and Baby Metal was definitely a metal band, Ratatata. It has a good energy, so it's a good theme for a wrestling event. Uh, um, and one, okay, so it's 6 o'clock. Let's see. This will be the last article, if we can find one. We did Collider, we didn't do CBR. Maybe CBR is something cool. Well, if I click the link, it will be something cool. Okay, here's a 10 best Saturday morning cartoons that everyone except me forgot about. But I will remember every one of these. The Gummy Bears. Yep, I watched this when I was a kid. And Roman, if you, I should get this because This is a good kids show. I like to hold on to it for anyone who has kids programming. You know. Matter of fact, while I'm reminded, let's see if the gummy bears are out there. Adventures of the Gummy Bears. Upscale. Fuck upscale. No good copies. Anywho, then we go to the Snorks. I watched this when I was a kid. I liked the Snorks. They were kind of a knockoff of the Smurfs. Then, of course, Voltron, which is anyway. This is Voltron was the American adaptation of Lion King. What was it? Lion King Goldion. And every American kid remembers Voltron. G.I. Joe, yep. Now, I mentioned Larry Kirkman's when I did my comic reveal, Rome, which you might not have been at the beginning of. I got some issues of Kirkman Void Transformers and Void Runners and all that. And in his comic universe, he reported he's going to have Larry Hama continue the original 1980 G.I. Joe series, storyline wise. We'll have to see if it can happen or not, but you know. DuckTales, that was great. This was a great cartoon. This cartoon, The Real Ghostbusters, is one of my 5 favorite American cartoons of all time. J. Michael Straczynski from Babylon 5 fame worked heavily on this show. This is the best sequel to Ghostbusters. It's better than Ghostbusters 2. It's better than Ghostbusters Afterlife. It's better than any. It basically picks up right after the first movie and goes the whole slew of supernatural adventures. Right. Yeah, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, or the 80s one. Yeah. The Smurfs. Masked Crusaders fighting masked invaders. I remember that. Yeah. And one gem. Oh, do I remember the theme song? With the Misfits. I almost remember the theme song to this. They did a horrible movie update of this, but the cartoon obviously it lended itself to be a girls' cartoon, but boys and girls both liked it. Obviously, because they do attract the chicks, and the music was halfway decent in the adventures. But like, this cartoon was way better than it had a right to be. You know, had a nifty theme song. Yeah. Yeah. So that was a pretty good list to end on. Nothing else is obvious. So what I got coming up, let's see. So I will be the Little Golden Book read of The Night Before Christmas. I'll rip that out of this video and probably have it up Sunday or Monday. I have a previous Little Golden Book read for, what did we read last week? Bob Ross, that's up this week. I'll be reviewing these 2 comics from Rippaverse. And I'll be reviewing, I've already got my work being done on these. This is a 32-issue series called Harrow County, based on American folklore. I'll be reviewing that. And Sharp Season 4, Episode 2, Sharp Siege. Those are my known reviews. Then I'll probably get to Hornblower Episode 2 after I do the Sharp. And Roman show next week when we talk about Wolfen, the movie, which is based on The Wolfen, the book. I'll give some more info about that stuff when we get to Roman show. So spoilers. And Roman Wolfen will be up soon. Wednesday night Overbooked, which is a wrestling theme show with me and Joker Voice and Ryan from Legion Talk. Ego's on there, so that's next Wednesday night at 10 Eastern Standard Time. The questioners, we had another video we'll be dropping this weekend. We're going over a bunch of articles and talking some anime stuff. Next week Friday is overbooked. This week on Jacob's channel, we reviewed The Untouchables. Next week, we're reviewing 310 to Yuma. And I'll have AEW's All in Wembley is next weekend. So probably once I get a more finalized card, I'll do predictions for it. Because I don't think, well, let's just see what's up there. AEW All in Wembley. Okay, so we have 9 matches so far. I think there'll be 2 or 3 more matches. So I will do my picks for this. I'll do it Tuesday. Yeah, because they'll be going to. They did Dynamite. They'll do Rampage and Collision, and that's probably what they'll set up all the last matches for it. Anything to add on to it. So I'll do Monday or Tuesday. I'll do my picks for it. So that's what I got going on. Oh, Roman, if you want to see something funny with the Smurfs, look up the Smurfs versus Nuclear Bomb on YouTube. Anyway, so that's it for me, guys. Have a great weekend. We'll be back in the same Fandemonium time and same Fandemonium channel, where hopefully Jacob will defeat the invading raccoon Daleks just trying to destroy Save Texas. And facehugger. I wonder if I get a facehugger mask. That'll be funny. Anyway, have a good weekend, guys. I am Matt from Rebel 73, and I am out of here.